Well, amid tightening restrictions to stem the spread of the virus, a few sectors could resume some sense of normalcy soon. President Uhuru Kenyatta directed the Ministry of Education to announce the school calendar by mid-August, ahead of possible September 1st reopening date, but under strict new guidelines. The President also gave the Ministry of Interior the green light to, within a week, convene an interfaith council to work out how places of worship will be reopened safely. Gina Kirori has the details.
On March 15th, the government announced the closure of schools after the first case of COVID-19 was reported in the country. 4 months later, the country has been trying to figure out how to safely reopen amidst the unknowns of the coronavirus. A meeting between the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Professor George Magoha, and the National Education Response Committee gave the strongest hint yet that it could be back to school soon. Today, the head of state affirmed the decision.
The Ministry of Education, jointly with the Ministry of Health, issue and publicize guidelines on a gradual and progressive return to normalcy in the education sector by the third term, that is, from the 1st of September.
The President directed the Ministry of Education to announce the new school calendar by mid-August. However, as students may migrate from the online platforms that became their new classroom and back to the familiar desks and blackboards, the focus now shifts to whether the guidelines put in place will be resilient enough against the virus, especially for students who are still at a tender age.
Ensuring that there's flowing water, the children are taught to wash hands, but the parents also take responsibility to ensure that their children understand why some of these measures are important.
On the same breath, normal service resumes in places of worship after yet another batch of processes.
The Ministries of Interior and Health will constitute an interfaith council to work out modalities and protocols of reopening of our places of worship.
Bars are, however, included in the list of social gatherings that are still off limits.
That in the meantime, the ban on all forms of gatherings, including but not limited to political gatherings, social gatherings, including bars, be and is hereby extended for a further 30 days.
The recommendations made by the National Education Response Committee and the details of the meeting between religious and government leaders will be made public on Monday. However, the future of churches still hangs in the balance, at least until a decision yields from the Interfaith Council, which will be formed by the Ministry of Health and Interior. Gina Kirori, NTV.